everybody, my name is Kelly with Books on the Brain, and today I'm bringing you my very first reading vlog. So today is Friday, March 8th, and I am taking the day off work because last week somehow, I'm still not entirely sure how, I broke a bone in my foot, and I've been teaching on it all week, and it has been super duper hard. I'm a very active teacher. I get up and I walk around and I'm constantly circulating or I'm constantly standing, and I feel like if I'm not standing or moving, then I'm not being an effective teacher, and I haven't been able to do that all week, and I've found that my energy level has dropped a lot trying to teach. And yeah, I was administering a state test this week, so I did have to get up and walk around in the mornings, and that set my foot off, and then it was pain, and it was just bad. So I decided that I needed these 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to sit and recover and not move my foot. So what better time to read than when I can't get up out of my chair very much. I do plan tomorrow to sit in a movie theater so I can see Captain Marvel, because I am very excited about that movie. But today I am just going to sit in my chair and I'm going to read all day, and yeah, so that's my plan. And this is a good time to be sidelined because last month, in the month of February, I only read 2 books. I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm in a reading slump per se. What I am is in a slump in general, and I let a lot of my good habits that I've been developing over the past year, and a lot of the things that make me happy, I just sort of stopped doing, and that of course contributed to me being in a blah mood. So I'm really focused this month on getting back to my good habits and doing things that make me happy, and one of the things that makes me happy is reading. So the past few nights I have put the computer aside. Being on my laptop is my number one time sucker. I can spend hours on that, just scrolling and looking at different things. I kept the TV off. That's another thing, is I constantly have the TV on as background noise. I just kept that off the last couple nights, and I've sat and read, and I've done pretty good. Last night I finished Becoming by Michelle Obama, which was an absolutely wonderful book. It was very inspiring. It was wonderful to read about how her life went, to see similarities between her and I, and just some of the, I'm not saying I'm anything like Michelle Obama, just, she's very list oriented and very driven and very to-do oriented, and that's how I am. I like things planned, as does she. So that was cool to read. I cried several times during the book, both out of happiness and out of frustration, but it was a wonderful book. So I finished that last night, and then I went to bed, and then I couldn't sleep. So I finished another book called Hexbreaker by Jordan L. Hawk, which at first, it's a series called Hex World, and I've read the first 2 and I really enjoyed the first 2, and this one I wasn't enjoying quite as much because I was having a hard time relating to one of the characters, Nick. It was one of those things, or not relating, but liking the character. It was one of those things, it's like I totally understood his point of view, I sympathized, I even agreed, but he drove me crazy. But then about halfway through, he exposed his more vulnerable side, and I liked him a lot more after that. It was just, he became very sweet, and I liked him and his relationship with his love interest in that. I just liked the way that grew. So that's what I've read the past 2, or since yesterday. So today the plan is I'm almost done with Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin, which is a book about habits and habit forming. I've got, let's see, there's 400 pages, I think. That's questions, suggested readings, starting a group. I'm trying to find the end. So there's, okay, not 400, there's 281 pages. I am on page 223. So I'm going to, my first goal is to go ahead and finish this book today. Then I have an arc for the book The Duke in Disguise by Cat Sebastian. This is a sequel to Unmasked by the Marquess, which I read earlier this year and I loved. So this one is not a direct, it's not like a sequel or anything. I think she said it's set before. There's some overlap in the characters, but it's really a standalone. I don't know too much what it's about other than that it's a romance, because that's what it's a romance because that's what Cat Sebastian writes, and it's a het romance, which I don't really read all that much, but that's what it is, and I love Cat Sebastian, so I'm going to give that a try. After I'm done with that, I don't know what I'm going to read. I am in the middle of Six of Crows, almost exactly in the middle, it looks like, maybe not quite, but I put it aside. I didn't officially DNF it. I put it aside because I wasn't enjoying it all that much. Fantasy is a hard sell for me. I'm not... I picked it up because I read Ace of Shades, and then I read a few people saying that Ace of Shades was basically a knockoff of Six of Crows, so I thought, okay, well, I'll give Six of Crows a try. And I can't get into the characters. There's a couple of them I like. I like Nina, and I believe her name is Inej. I think that's how you would pronounce it. I like them. I like what their relationship is right now. But all the other characters, oh, and I can't even remember the other two characters' names right now. I kind of like them. These two guys, but I just don't really care. So, but I don't want to officially, because I have a feeling that if I keep reading, I'll like it more. So I might read that, or I might read Of Fire and the Stars by Audrey Colthurst, which I got, my sister gave me for my birthday. It is a fantasy novel. It's about a princess who has magic, which apparently is dangerous, especially the type of magic she has. And she ends up forming an alliance with her betrothed sister, and I believe they end up falling in love. So that is a possibility. And the other thing I really, really want to get to is Hexbreaker by Jordan L. Hawk. I've been looking forward to this book since I read the second book, because one of the characters, Bill Quigley, said, oh, how's Isaac, who was a character who had been introduced in the first book. And I went, oh my gosh, they're in love. Oh, I want to read about this. They're going to be so cute together. And that is what the book is about. I don't know. I like it when you have that sort of side. I don't, that's how I write romance a lot of the times. If where I have side characters, where it's like I'll have the main romance and then like one character happens to go out for ice cream with the other character because their kids want to play together, and everyone knows, oh, both are gonna fall in love. And so that's how it is. So I'm very excited to read that. So I'm gonna go ahead at some point this month, buy that and read that. And then I also have another arc. It's called For the Love of Books. I believe it's a series of essays about books. So that is my plan for this morning, or for this weekend. I am currently, so on Goodreads, my goal this year is to read 100 books. And last night I was 7 books behind, but because I finished those 2 books, I'm now 5 books behind. I don't think I'm gonna read all 5 books this weekend, but I hope to at least cut that down so I'm only 2 books behind. I forgot I'm also listening on audio to a book, no, that's the wrong app, to a book called How I Changed My Life in a Year by Shelley Wilson, and I think I'm almost done with that. So at some point today I'll also read that, or finish listening to that. But yeah, so that's my reading plan. And okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started reading. Right, so I have finished Better Than Before. It was really good. I have a lot of top tabs and highlights in it. I'm going to go back through the book at some point and write down what I highlighted and tabbed, and then, because I'm a little obsessive, I'm going to rewrite those notes into my bullet journal and make it all pretty. But it was a lot of really good things. I don't have a specific habit I'm trying to form right now, which is something Gretchen Rubin suggested. She said, when you start reading the book, have a habit in mind. Well, I've got some habits that I've already started, like getting up and going to the gym every morning. Well, I guess I could say right now what the habit that I want to do is reading every night, because I read every night before I go to bed. I want to cut down on TV and read in the evenings. So I guess that could be a habit. But it was just a lot of things like there are different types of people. They can be larks, which are people who like to get things done in the morning, or owls, who are people who get things done at night. Types of habits that people make. There's like 7 types of habits that people try to make. There was a section on underbuyers and overbuyers. I don't know what I am, to be perfectly honest. I do at times have trouble buying things that I need, but then I spend money on things that I don't need kind of easily, especially things like dresses lately. So yeah, so it was really good. I enjoyed this book. She actually has a new book that just came out the other day called Outer Order, Inner Calm, which is about clearing clutter, and I'm eventually going to get that, but not right away. But this was good. It was good food for thought. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on The Duke in Disguise by Cat Sebastian now. Hey everybody, it is about 11 o'clock now. I'm, I want to say 30-something% of the way through a Duke in Disguise, not The Duke in Disguise. 37% of the way through A Duke in Disguise. I'm enjoying it right now. I don't quite know who the Duke in Disguise is. I'm assuming it's the main focal character, Ash, but I think he right now doesn't know who he is. He doesn't quite remember his childhood, other than that it wasn't great because he has seizures and he was kind of passed around to a lot of different families and schools before he finally found somebody who he could be an apprentice to. This is Brycey, by the way. This is my kitty Brycey. I'm trying to take notes on Better Than Before and catch up on BookTube, and she's quite insistent that it's time for me to pet her. So yeah, so I'm quite enjoying A Duke in Disguise. It was a little like, it starts kind of right in the middle of everything. There's no introductions to the characters per se. It's just like, oh, this is the life that's going on. But I'm getting into the rhythm. It does take place before Masked by the Marquess. There's only really so far one character that I recognize, which is Portia Allenby, who is the Marquess in the other book. His father had a mistress who was Portia. So she's in it, and she was actually the lover of the female romantic interest in this book, which I find fascinating. I like that she's very clearly bisexual. Verity is her name, and actually at one point she has a conversation with Ash, the main character, or the main male character, about, well, I just assumed everyone was bisexual. Everybody was attracted to everyone. Are you saying that's not the case? So yeah, so that's fun. So yeah, so I'm enjoying my kind of reading day. I'm really glad I took off work because my foot is just, every time I get up to walk, it is aching, even though I've taken Advil. So I'm thinking that this week put a lot of strain on it, more strain than I thought, and I've just been kind of pushing that pain away. Oh, my blanket fell down. Pushing that pain away and soldiering through, and now that I'm not, I'm just, yeah. So I did make a decision that I'm not going to wait to go see Captain Marvel. I'm going to go see it today. So I bought my tickets and reserved my seat. I didn't get the exact center of the theater. Like, I like to sit in the exact center, but I'm pretty close. So that will be good, and I'm very excited, and I'm going to, now that Brycey has decided that I'm not paying enough attention to her, I'm going to continue with my notes and watching BookTube and I will catch up with you later. It is now about 7:30. I have finished A Duke in Disguise. I loved this book. I actually think I liked it a little bit more than Unmasked by the Marquess, which is a little strange because Unmasked by the Marquess was about a woman who had been living as a man for various reasons, who falls in love and is fallen in love with the Marquess of Pembroke, and he is very attracted to her both when she is in her male disguise and when he finds out she's a woman, he is still attracted to her. He just is attracted to her as a person, but he is also bisexual. And I love stories when women dress up as men for various reasons and live with them. I liked this one because Kat Sebastian said that she was also genderqueer, or would have been considered non-binary or genderqueer if they had that terminology, but they didn't, so she just identified as a woman who was more comfortable living as a man. But so that should have, like, by all rights, I should have liked that better than A Duke in Disguise, but there's just something about A Duke in Disguise. I loved the characters. So Verity Plum is a bookseller. She prints books, she prints magazines, and her brother is kind of walking the line of being a seditionist, and she has to deal with that. And then also to sort of, you know, expand her business, she gets this book, this novel, which deals with this historical figure, and it's an erotic novel. So she asks her friend Ash, who's an illustrator, if he would illustrate it. And they have this undercurrent of where they're best friends. They're so just in sync with each other, and they're both totally into each other, but they know it's unspoken because she's stated that she absolutely is not going to get married. Her mother had a bad marriage. She doesn't want to be shackled. She just wants her freedom, and he doesn't want to have any chance of having illegitimate children because he was illegitimate. But then through the course of the novel, he finds out that no, he's not illegitimate. He's actually the rightful heir and long lost heir of this duke. So the relationship changes, and it was so much fun. It was just that I really liked it. I liked the way that it went through. I think part of it with Unmasked by the Marquess, I think her name was Charity. It's been a while since I've read it. She just was so, there's no way that I can marry this Marquess because I can't stop being who I am, and it would be ruination for him. And he understood, but he didn't. He still wanted to marry her, and he was insistent. And then it just sort of seemed like, we're just going to get married anyway. So that part never really resolved itself to my satisfaction. Where this, I could see the reasoning behind the choices that they made, and the growth that Verity had to go through in order to make her decisions. So I really liked it. So I'm glad I read that. So next up, I still have not decided if I'm going to finish Six of Crows or The Fire and Stars. I'm so not sure. I think I won't start this tonight. I think I will continue on with this and then see how I feel. And if I'm just not feeling it, I'll probably just DNF it. Which I hate DNFing books. I hate not finishing books, but I also don't like reading books that I don't enjoy reading. So, but, you know, I'm on page 193, and I just feel like because like I said, it's so popular. People love this so much, and my Twitter feed has been blowing up with people talking about it lately. And renaming probably because it's going to be a Netflix series, but renaming themselves as characters or of this, Ketterdam or all that stuff. But it's like a whole new crop of people have found it and loved it. So I think for tonight, I will give this a try. And like I said, if I'm not feeling it, I'll go back to this, and then I might even go ahead and get Hex Hunter. I think it's Hex Hunter, the 4th Hex World book,
and just shoot that off, because it's like, it was so exciting when I saw that I'm just now 3 books behind schedule on my Goodreads instead of 5 books, which I was yesterday. So I still don't think I'm gonna get all the way down, but I want to get closer. So that's my plan for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get reading.
Today is Saturday, March 9th. I woke up with a headache this morning, so I'm not quite ready to jump in and read, to start reading. I need to wait and see if the medication kicks in. I did make a little bit more progress on Six of Crows last night. It's still not clicking yet, but I am a little bit more interested in what's going on, especially it was a lot of Matthias and Nina's story in their background, which I found interesting. So and just sort of what they're going to be doing. So that is interesting. And then I went ahead and started a Fire and, let me see the title, of Fire and Stars, just to sort of, I don't know, when I'm reading a book that I don't particularly care for all that much, I like to read something else afterwards, just to sort of send me off to sleep. So this is what I read. It's a good start. So I'm going to wait for the medication and drink some more water to kick in, and drink some more water. And I'm going to go ahead and do some things, and then I'm going to get started on reading again. Okay, so I am now done with Six of Crows. I ended up quite enjoying it. The beginning setup was hard for me to get through. So basically the book is about, there are these people called Grisha who can do various kinds of magic, and there is a drug that enhances their magic that has recently been found. It greatly enhances it, gives them this super phenomenal power, but it's also very highly addictive. So Kaz Brucker, who is kind of a crime lord, is hired by a man to go to this ice court, I believe it's called, and I believe it said it's called Fajurden, but I am not sure. I don't know if the F is silent or not, or if that's how you pronounce it, but the creator of the drug is being held prisoner there, and Van Ecken, I believe, wants Kaz to go get him. So Kaz assembles a crew to go and break this guy out of this unbreakable prison. And it's told from the various people's point of view. It's all third person, but each chapter is a different person's point of view. And there are various crew. There's the Inej, who is a wraith. She's silent. She's an assassin. She's trained as an acrobat. There's Nina, who is a Grisha, who is a heartrender, which I'm not quite sure what that meant. She has something to do with the body. There's Matthias, who is a native Fajurden, who was a soldier who hunt Grisha and capture them and put them on trial and find them guilty of being witches. But he and Nina have a history together. There was Jesper, who was a sharpshooter, I believe, and then Wyland, who was their artist and their munitions person, and then Kaz himself. So it goes through all their points of view. So it started very slow for me. The words threw me, and I couldn't get into the characters. But I started really liking, the first two that I really liked, their relationship was Inej and Nina. I just liked the way that they interacted together. And then Jesper and Wyland, I think, are very shippy, and I liked their relationship. I thought it was fun to read. And then once they actually get to the ice court and the heist and the prison break begins, then that's what was really fascinating to me. That was one of the reasons. Another reason I picked it up is I like those kinds of stories. So this does have a sequel. It ends on a cliffhanger. I think it's The Crooked Kingdom or something. I'm not going to read it right away. I'm going to read the I'm going to read Of Fire and Stars, and then probably, I've forgotten what it is again. Hexbreaker? No, that was the last one I read. Hex Hunter. No, maybe it's Hex Hunter. I don't know. Whatever the next Hex World book is, I'm going to read those two first, and then I'll think about reading the next in the Six of Crows books. But I'm glad I finished it. I'm glad it was, I read a lot of it today at Starbucks, and then I was able to finish it here. So it feels like an accomplishment, especially since yesterday I was still dragging my feet, not sure if I wanted to read it. And now I've done it and I feel accomplished. And yeah, so I feel great. So I just uploaded a video to YouTube. I need to make that public. And then I will catch up with you later. Bye. It is now Sunday, March 10th, and I have finished my last book that I had on my weekend TBR, and that was Of Fire and Stars. This was just a really cute little book about a princess named Denalea who has what's called an affinity for fire magic, although she discovers when she goes to the kingdom of her betrothed that she also has some other affinities as well. And of course, in the kingdom that she went to, Mineria, I believe it was called, they don't think magic is good. They think it goes against their religion, and they are actively trying to suppress it. So she has been told to suppress her magic her whole life, but she hasn't done that good of a job. And once she gets to Mineria, it just sort of flares up all over the place for reasons that have to do with a lot of the plot. And let me see if I can get Cobbler in the frame, because he desperately wants, nope, he just left. This is my cat Cobbler. Let's see. And yeah, he wants to be petted right now. Hi. Anyway, so Denalia she's a very, very intelligent princess. She's very well schooled. She grew up expecting to be a leader, because in her kingdom gender doesn't matter. What matters is birth order. So her sister was always going to be queen no matter what, and Denalea expects to be queen and be an active part of the government when she moves to this new kingdom. But what she finds is that she's just being given the barest bits of responsibility, and her main thing that she needs to learn to do is to ride a horse for a ceremony leading up to the wedding. So the king's sister Mare is teaching Denalea how to ride a horse, and the two of them become very attracted to one another and seeking each other's company. And it's just a very sweet love story that unfolds between the two of them. So this book had a lot of intrigue, a lot of magic, a lot of action, a lot of politics, and I really, really liked it. And I hope this is a first in the series, so I can't wait to get to read the next one. So with that, and because I also finished my audiobook yesterday, which was How I Changed My Life in a Year by Shelley Wilson, I actually have caught up on my Goodreads, and I am on track. I got that little "you're on track" exclamation point. So I'm very proud of myself. My main takeaway from this weekend is I haven't been giving myself enough time to read. I used to read all the time. I would read in commercials when the TV was on. I would read just all the time. I was never without a book in my hand. And as I got older, it just sort of it was easier to come home exhausted from work and sit in front of the TV and scroll on the computer and not read. So I miss reading. It was a lot of fun just sitting and reading and going through these stories. So I'm definitely going forward going to devote more time to reading. So I'm glad I did this. I'm not glad I injured my foot and I had to take the day off, but you know, having all that time to sit and read, what ended up being a positive thing. So before I sign off, I did just want to quickly show you, I ran to the library and got some books. So first book I got was The Daughter of Sherlock Holmes by Leonard Goldberg, because I'm always interested in anything having to do with Sherlock Holmes, and I like that this story, it's the same kind of, oh, Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler had a tryst, but instead of it being a son like it usually is, it's a daughter. So I thought I would give this a try. I also picked up Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry, because I've heard a lot of really good things about this. I decided to give the Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler another try. I tried it several years ago and I just got really irritated but uncomfortable, not with the story, but uncomfortable and frustrated with one of the characters. But since then I've seen the movie and I want to try it again. And then the last book I got was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, I believe, because this is another book that I've heard mixed things. I've heard that it's good or it's okay, but it gets good, but I want to give it a try. So this was my reading vlog. It was my very first one. I had a lot of fun filming it, so I think I will go ahead and try it again. I don't know if it will be next week or if this will be a monthly thing. I just have to decide how I'm going to do that. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a comment and remember to hit like. Please hit subscribe for more content. I'm trying to be more regular and post at least weekly wrap-ups, tags, those sort of things. And, you know, hopefully the reading vlogs will become a regular part of my channel as well. So don't forget, when you hit subscribe, to also hit that little notification bell so you know when I upload. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.